So Wise and I have been discussing this for, I think this was about 2 days ago that this discussion started. He had seen SmackDown, last week's SmackDown, the one that came on this past Friday, and I had just caught it on Hulu Plus, and there was a certain match that came on that made me come up with this idea that maybe the United States Championship needs to be, I don't want to say rebranded, but just kind of maybe reused, and that it shouldn't be just a second Intercontinental Championship because right now that's what it feels like, and you have two belts for essentially what are your mid carders. Back in the day you had the Intercontinental Championship, and you also had the Hardcore Championship, and that made sense because they were two different divisions. One was for like once you won the Intercontinental Championship, you knew you were getting the next call up, pretty much. Like you were going to be the next big thing in a way. Like that was their way of saying that you are the best among, I guess, what would be considered mid carders, and you're about to get the call, and you're going to be the next kind of main eventer in a way. And then you had like the Hardcore Championship, and the Hardcore Championship was just specifically for guys who used weapons. So just because you were a Hardcore Champion, it didn't mean that you were like a main event guy, or that you were as good a wrestler as somebody who won the Intercontinental Championship. That just meant that you were very good in your division, where you could use weapons. You had a very good move set, with weapons and in hardcore matches, and you kind of you're getting the drift here. The division was specifically used for something else, whereas this other division is more your secondary division. I guess the way to describe it is like primary, then you have your secondary division, then you have your tertiary division, and I felt like the hardcore division was the tertiary one. So keeping that kind of in line with the U.S. Championship, and why right now it's kind of more of a secondary title instead of it being a tertiary title. There was a match on SmackDown. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you haven't, it's probably worth watching because it was actually pretty funny, to be honest. Because I thought it could have been. I thought that the match itself just sounded pretty stupid. I mean, come on, if you ever hear Santino with who are they with? Who is he with now? Great Khali and Hornswoggle. So now he has Natalia's old buddies, and I'm so glad they got the two of them off of her. Now Santino's with them, and they're coming out to the ring, and he's in a match, and Santino's in a match with, I believe it's Heath Slater of 3MB. I mean, everything about that sounds like you should just stay away from it. You should. I mean, there's nothing there that could possibly make you want to watch it. But then the match itself kind of takes a very interesting and bizarre direction, and I really liked it. Um, Santino and Heath Slater are doing some like really goofy and funny things throughout the entire match, but then I'm starting to I can't remember now if this is Heath Slater or Drew McIntyre that he had in the match. That's how unforgettable the 3MB guy is that I can't even remember who the match was against. I believe it was Heath Slater. I'm standing by that one. And Heath Slater and him are like doing some pretty silly things in the match, where like they're copying each other's moves, or they're trading the same exact move for the same exact move. But then it gets to the point where Santino pulls out the Cobra, and as silly as this sounds, it happened. Jinder Mahal jumped up to the apron and had a little like one of those like snake charmer flutes, and starts going and it makes the Cobra like Santino's like playing along, and so the Cobra's just kind of like starting to like do its own thing, and it's starting to point at him, and it's like trying to attack him. Then Great Khali gets up there, and now he has his own flute, and like and now he's trying to get the Cobra to do what it's supposed to do, which is attack Heath Slater, and him and Jinder Mahal are going back and forth. And I think Drew McIntyre comes from the other side and pulls down Khali and gets him to stop. Or and then like Kali tries to get it back in order. Sorry, and then Jinder Mahal tries to get it back in order. Santino's like in the corner as the Cobra, like he's trying to like hold the Cobra back with his other hand, and the Cobra's like almost about to strike him in the face. Like it was very comedic. It was funny, and I actually enjoyed it. I thought that it was a nice change of pace from anything from what the usual match on Raw and SmackDown was. People would say like this is something that belongs in like Chikara or something because it was just so outrageous, over the top, hilarious, and I do think that it was very funny. I really enjoyed it. And that got me thinking that maybe we need to repackage the U.S. title or just move the U.S. title and create some sort of comedy division. Because then, when you have something like a comedy division, you look back at characters that this would have made sense for. So you think you go like really, really way back, and there's like Spike Dudley, Gilbert would have been another one. The Blue World Order, jobber status for life. Who else? You could have also done like Coco Beware. You know what? You could probably throw. And me and Wise talked about this. It's not just kind of like just the comedy division, but this could also help guys who just have a very generic gimmick or need help getting their gimmick over. So someone like Sin Cara, unless you're making his whole comedy routine that he botches and that's his gimmick and that he just botches everything, which I think could be funny. I think a gimmick of a wrestler who just like botches moves could be funny. I think there's potential there. Um, but there are also like generic guys who could fit this. I mean, R-Truth right now, like not R-Truth 2 years ago where he was like in that elimination chamber match for the WWE title. That R-Truth was already doing what he needed to do. But R-Truth now, this R-Truth that's like struggling, not really winning matches, although he kind of got he got the pin on Curtis Axel last night. Although that was because CM Punk was doing CM Punk things. But then you have guys like Eric Young, and then R-Truth. I would have said maybe Fandango but earlier Fandango, and maybe even Fandango now, just to get his gimmick like that much more over would fit in this division, because Fandango is a funny guy. Like he's there for comedic purposes, but I wouldn't keep Fandango in this division long. I would say that this is a way to kind of help him get his gimmick over, really get over with the fans, but he's not interfering with any main storyline, so he's not just like being randomly put in the things that he shouldn't be in, and he isn't randomly losing matches to people that he shouldn't be losing matches to because he's more over than the other person. Like, why is he losing to The Miz? Like, that doesn't make sense. Um, I think that could really help guys like that. Like, if they bring back face Big E, and Big E is a face, and he needs to get that 5 count gimmick over, and instead of just bringing him on Raw and having him randomly go against CM Punk just so that he can have a like somebody made the Ryback joke just so that he can go against the black version of Ryback, which is absolutely wrong. I mean, he's not the black version of Ryback. He's Big E. Their movesets are completely different in the way. I mean, their physical build is similar, but outside of that, that's about it. But you don't just keep Big E off of television that long and then just throw him to CM Punk and say, hey, I need you to just work this match and lose. Um, yeah, like I feel like Big E could benefit from this, because right now, I mean, we do love Big E. We think that he should be at least mid card status, if not that. He could potentially in the future be a main event guy. But instead, he's just kind of like in the ether, where they don't like. It seems like right now WWE doesn't know what to do with him. So instead, you could just put him in, I don't want to say these meaningless matches, but if you're going to give him something to do, give him a chance to get himself over. Create this kind of comedy division where he could come in, be a face, face off against, guys like a Santino or who else? If you want him to go against, I hate going to 3MB. I don't think 3MB is really the answer, but he can go against guys like R-Truth, go against a Sin Cara, and be able to get his nice kind of like funny matches off against these guys. Who else? Well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, Santino because he is funny. But this helps you also keep guys away like Antonio Cesaro, who, by the way, after that Raw match, that's when this needs to happen because there is no reason that in this month alone, well, last month now because it's October now, but in this month alone, I believe Santino has beaten Antonio Cesaro 3 times. If not, I believe it's that he's beaten Antonio Cesaro twice and that he's beaten Jack Swagger as well. But then he loses to Fandango, which makes no sense. That doesn't make sense. And the reason that this is pissing me off, it's because you're killing your future. You're killing a guy like Antonio Cesaro, who a lot of people in the crowd realize how strong he is. I mean, look at his. I mean, yes, he has a comedy moveset. Well, I haven't seen him do the UFO in WWE, but he uses the big swing. He uppercuts things like crazy. He had arguably one of the best matches of the year with Daniel Bryan, where he went about 20 minutes with him, and yet we're having him lose to Santino. I mean, Daniel Bryan had to roll him up, and rolling him up looked believable because that was the only thing that it looked like that was the only way that match could finish, was if Daniel Bryan rolled up Antonio Cesaro. But now we have Antonio Cesaro being rolled up by Santino when Santino gets no offense off whatsoever, and Cesaro's dominating the match. It makes no sense right now, and it's pissing me off because didn't we have this situation a while ago where there was like nobody else on the main roster to turn to? Like you have guys like Ziggler and Cesaro who should be, and Sandow too, who should be ready to go into the main event status, but yet they're like hanging around in like mid card slash even lower card territories, and it doesn't make sense. These guys are your future. Why are they not featured more in main event matches? Granted, I can't really say that for Ziggler because I mean Ziggler's been involved in this whole corporate storyline, and he has been getting his time right now. But you look over at Cesaro, and you look over at Big E, you look over at Swagger, you look over at a lot of other guys who have been hanging around this mid card territory, and they're just jobbing. They're really just jobbing right now. I think somebody else who could fit in the comedy, the comedy division to really kind of get himself over. Although right now I think he's very over with the fans, and he should just be kind of pushed to a mid card. Is Titus O'Neil, and this is what I mean by getting your gimmick over and getting over with the crowd. Is that he has a chant, and that would work. He's a comedic guy. He stomps people out in the corner with a whistle. It would work. It would be funny. You could keep him there for maybe a month and get him out of there. Let him win his matches. Maybe let him hold. I wouldn't say let him hold the title, but let him work with these guys. This way, you have a credible wrestler in the ring who should be winning these matches, but doesn't lose these matches where he should be winning them against guys like if Cesaro was going against a Santino, or if Big E is going against he lost to somebody way back when he was I feel like he like 2 or 3 months ago when he was a heel, when primetime players were still heel, they were losing to people that they shouldn't have, and I can't remember off the top of my head who it was. I feel like they've lost to tons of Funk, which I can get like body size wise makes sense, but I just feel like that's not somebody primetime players should be losing to. Who else? That just reminded me. Tons of Funk. Maybe this Tons of Funk belongs in that division. Give them something to do and stop feeding them to the Wyatts all the time. This way, they can get their gimmick over. Because right now, I mean, like, yes, their entrance is fun and their moveset's kind of fun, and that's why I think they fit in this division. But they're not doing anything. Like we know that when Tons of Funk comes out, they're out there to lose. They're not going to win. Who are they going to beat? 3MB? Okay. Outside of that, who else? I would love to see them do that bodyguard gimmick that I've kind of heard them report. I've heard reports about. I think Wise interviewed them, and they've talked about that, where they want to. I would love to see them do kind of like a modern APA or not a modern, but like a a repackaged APA thing, because what they're doing right now is not working. It's not. It's not that I think it sucks, or that it's really stupid. It's just that when you come out there, you can't take them seriously. I mean, this used to be Albert. This used to be Prince Albert. Like I used to be. I used to be legit. Well, I'm not legit, but as a kid growing up, I was afraid of that guy. This is a big dude, and now he's just kind of like a bit of a joke. Like his moveset is just, it's silly. And he talked about when he was Tensai, Lord Tensai over in Japan. It's more about the wrestling over there, whereas over here it's not so much. It's more about the entertainment value. But if you want to keep them in that entertainment value, section, then why not just create a separate division so you can keep the silliness on for the kids to enjoy, which I think is great, and leave it at that. Let that be its own. I don't want to say its own kind of world, but let that kind of be like, I don't want to say developmental territory, because it's not. These are guys that are main event roster ready, but shouldn't be beating guys who should be really honestly competing for the Intercontinental Championship or even the World Heavyweight Championship for some of these guys. Keep them away from guys like Ziggler. Keep them away from guys like Big E. Keep them away from Cesaro, because all you're really doing is you're hurting the stock of the guy that that should be built up as your future. I mean, to us, Cesaro's a future World Heavyweight Champion. I'm hoping in the next year he's a World Heavyweight Champion, and down the road possibly a WWE Champion. I mean, I understand that he still has like a gimmick to get over, maybe, but I don't think he really needs one. His gimmick is his moveset. His moveset alone should be getting him over. His moveset is outrageous. It's great. I love it. It's very European. And instead, and people like cheer for this guy. They love Cesaro every time he comes out. You hear JBL even on commentary just really praising this guy's strength. He's very strong. He's a wonder to watch. And instead, we're getting these shit matches with him in it. And it does nothing to benefit him, and you're potentially hurting your future, because people who don't realize how good Cesaro really is aren't getting invested in him because his character's dull. I mean, I know people. I don't personally know people like that, but I see people like that who just don't get invested in a character who, wrestling wise, is amazing and great and should be the future, but they're not getting invested just simply because of the fact that they're not winning matches. Santino's funnier though because he's winning, and he's great and yada yada yada. He's the face, and he's a face. Well, I think whatever. He's playing a face here, and he's so funny. He has the Cobra. You're letting Santino get over, and I don't even understand why. At this point, because I don't think Santino needs a mid card or main event build up, really. I mean, I understand he came back from, what did he come back from? An injury? I'm really not sure. But he's just coming back, and now like Cesaro has been here. For he was he came back from WrestleMania. He came out of WrestleMania. Your United States champion for so long. What was it, like 200 something days? Then he loses to Kofi Kingston, and now he's just kind of been like losing to people unnecessarily. Didn't Zack Ryder beat Cesaro? I know it was like on Main Event or something, but he beat Cesaro. That shouldn't have happened. And you know what? Actually, this is a good division for guys like Justin Gabriel. Guys who have generic, who are just kind of generic right now, or we haven't really seen their moveset, or just really need some sort of push. Like, what is Zack Ryder's gimmick right now? Like, is he still like? I understand that his theme song is still like oh radio, and it's like woo woo woo, it, but like, are we really buying it anymore? That's what this division would benefit. Guys like Zack Ryder who have needed a win since like forever. I could even see 3MB winning matches in this. Like, just give us something. Give us anything. Anything to just get these guys who honestly need the help they deserve. And then the guys who are, who should be getting pushed and should be in the main events or going for the Intercontinental Championship, you can finally get guys like Sandow away from, like some time that they deserve. Because if you're spending Raw wasting matches on, and it's not, I don't want to say it's a wasted match because Biggie Langston and CM Punk could be a great match, but right now, CM Punk's going to win. CM Punk's in a feud right now with Ryback. So Big E, who hasn't been on television in like a month, is going to get, he's going to eat that go to sleep, which he sold hysterically. I thought the selling of that was like out of control. Like he got hit and then he like stood there for like 5-10 seconds and was like, I'm dazed. Like, oh shit, he's making me go to sleep. I can't move. And then like he fell on the floor. But that Big E Langston isn't going to win that match now. Maybe 6 months down the road when Big E is, being legitimately established as a mid carder or a main eventer. But right now, I mean, Big E's not mid card. He's not, because he hasn't really been doing anything. He's just kind of been like, whatever, I'm off TV. And then you have like Los Matadores, who premiered last night, and they did their entrance, and I was behind it. I was like buying it, and then that little, what was it, El Torito, the little bull came out. And the second that bull came out, I hated it. I knew I was gonna hate it. I was gonna hate this thing. I was like, I just like, I'm like, why are we doing this to Epico and Primo? Why are we repackaging them as this? And why do they have a mascot? It's a tag team with a mascot. This was made for little kids to enjoy and look oh, look at the little bull. Like this is Sin Cara or like Rey Mysterio repackaged now as a little bull. And like here comes Epico and Primo, and I like the idea of creating a new sort of like like a luchador mask, where usually you just kind of have like your normal standard covers the whole face mask, and that kind of like keeps their identity separate. But now it's like now they have like the Bandito mask, and that's their kind of mask. I like that part of it. That's really cool. But then like I like their moveset, but then I'm not buying the gimmick. The gimmick it's too cartoony, it's too stupid, it's too kind of it really is that little El Torito mascot that they have that really just kind of like broke it for me. Like I was in the magic of the entrance. I loved it. Like I liked it. It was getting good. And then they did the reveal of that little bull, and I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't take it seriously. There's no way I can take it seriously. And I mean, even like laughing at it, I can't laugh at it. I can't. Because the whole time I saw that little El Torito thing, they need to get rid of that as soon as possible. Like that should be a comedy thing that they do for a month and then let it go. Like seriously, let it go. Because no. Did not like it. But yeah, that's kind of like that's how I'm feeling right now about like just because what's the U.S. title doing other than just sitting on Dean Ambrose with guys that he's gonna crush anyway? Like he's gonna crush Dolph Ziggler for the title. Oh wait, Dolph Ziggler is not going against him for the title now. Who's he going to like now we have Dolph Ziggler. Hold on, I have to look at the Battleground pay-per-view now. Because now I'm really confused as to what's happening. Let's see. Oh, that's right. Battleground kickoff. Dolph Ziggler versus Damian Sandow. Hey, Damian Sandow. We haven't seen you this whole month. What have you been up to? Oh, he's just here going against Dolph Ziggler. And I'm not sure who's going to win that match now because I'm like, okay, is this Dolph Ziggler jobbing? Or is this Damian Sandow getting beat again, and we're just supposed to forget that he has the briefcase? He has the briefcase, unless this is their way of kind of like teasing the briefcase and being like, oh, hey, remember Damian Sandow? He is the briefcase. If Rob Van Dam wins tonight, hey, Damian Sandow's probably going to cash in. Just thought you should know. Like, it's so stupid. I really hate it. Yeah, and that's really just it. I really have nothing else to really say. I think that there should be a comedy division and keep guys away from what they, just please, for the love of God, keep them away from things that they shouldn't be a part of. Like why is like not saying that Damian Sandow shouldn't be in a match against Ziggler, but why are these two going against each other? Why is this match so random? And yet we can't get them like a legitimate feud or give them somebody to legitimately go against. Like why isn't Dolph Ziggler going against Ambrose for the US title right now? Other than the fact that he shouldn't be going for the US title because he should be World Heavyweight Championship, WWE Championship material. Because that's what his feud has been. It's been against Dean Ambrose. He's pinned the guy twice now. I don't know. Nothing makes sense. But that's kind of my thoughts on the whole comedy division. There's really nothing else I can really talk about it. I think that it should happen. It should be for guys like Kali, Hornswoggle, that whole crew. Let them have their moments on Raw, so that this way I can enjoy matches with them and know that they're not harming anybody in main event status or in mid card status, but also helps to get certain guys who need to get over, like a Zack Ryder or a Justin Gabriel or somebody who's coming up from NXT and just really needs a few matches to get him in. Like I could see El Generico. And I said, did I really just call him El Generico? I have to call him Sami Zayn now. Like I can see like Sami Zayn just like coming up for the first time and coming through his comedy division. Maybe for like a month maybe for like a month because he's like his character comes off as like this kind of like I don't want to say soft guy, but he's just very humble, very sincere, and that may be the kind of gimmick that may be difficult to really get over at first. And you keep him there so that he can win matches. I mean, if you want to put the belt on him, sure, and let that be kind of like his way of being a call up. I don't want to say call up, but saying that he's ready to go into mid card, ready to go to mid card or maybe even go to main event status. That's kind of like his segue into it because I mean, Sami Zayn doesn't have the build of a monster guy, and I understand that his moveset is great, but he doesn't have the build of a monster guy like a Ryback or a Big E who can just come right in and you're immediately terrified of the guy and you understand, okay, that's a mid card main event guy. I think that's who this division should benefit. Generic guys, or sorry, guys with either generic or just guys who need to get their gimmick over, as well as comedy guys. That's all this should be. Keep them away, please, for the love of God. Keep them away from mid carders and main eventers. I think I've repeated myself enough. All right, I'll be back with a Raw review a little later on. But until then, this is Blackjack 2-1 out.